That I'm very happy to see that, because we need much more of it going forward, because that's the only thing that the politicians are going to recognize. They either face the wrath of Trump or the wrath of the people. And they have to be more afraid of the wrath of the people and realize this is not good. I better strap on my balls and do something about it.
Do you think they got that message, that's going to resonate with them as the week comes into?
It has to. We can't let up. Cannot let up on him, because he is not going to leave the White House. He does not want to leave the White House. He will not leave the White House. Anybody thinks he'll do this, he'll do that, is just deluding themselves. The Republicans, most of all, because they know, but they're going along with it. It's a classic bully situation. We see it, and there's no other. To face a bully, you have to face him and fight it out and back him off and back him down. That's the only way this is going to work.
You know, speaking of strapping on balls, there seems to be only one candidate in the New York City mayoral race who is willing to do that and who has been critical of President Trump right now. Have you decided who you're voting for yet next month?
I don't know, but I have thought of the thing that I like about Hamdani is that he's young, he's smart, and he means well. You know, he's not a mean person. He's not a bad person. He'll have to make decisions. There'll be compromises, like all politicians, like everybody who is in a position of making decisions that somebody's not going to be happy. But at the end of the day, I feel that I think at this point, I don't know enough yet to go further, but that he will have, he could be somebody that would be the right choice.
But you have some reservations about him?
I don't even have a reservation. I don't know, and I don't want to say even reservation. I don't know.
You said earlier, Mr. De Niro, about the president. He will not leave the White House. This is where you and I are on the same wavelength, because I've long
thought.
No
way. He will not. We see it. We see it all the time. He will not want to leave. He set it up with his. I guess he's the Goebbels of the cabinet, Stephen Miller. He's a Nazi. Yes, he is, and he's Jewish, and he should be ashamed of himself.
Well, I was asking this question to get to the point. You know, kings think that they should rule forever. Let me put up something that the president posted last night on X. He writes, "We're built different. Have a good night, everyone." And look at what he puts up there. He and J.D. Vance as, what is that, king and queen? King and king? I don't know. You know, above, once again, putting a sombrero on the head of House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, and then adding Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer to the fun by giving him a sombrero. Your reaction to that?
It's all nonsense. We know it's all racist. It's all, I mean, that's what he appeals to. That's what Trump is. Everything is, what you see is what you get. It's not going to change with him. Everything. He's just, the point is we have to keep fighting and pushing until he is out. Period. There's no other way. He's not going to want to leave the White House. What is he facing? He's facing certain things, no matter what the Supreme Court. They're going to find a way to go after him for what he's done, all the awful, monstrous things that he's done. You know. I don't see any. He's not going to want to leave. Why should he?
On that point, then, what do you make of the National Guard deployments? He first did it in Los Angeles, then really did it in Washington, D.C., where he has control of the National Guard. But then he's trying to get them into Illinois, into Portland.
Yeah, he's going to get them in to intimidate when the midterms come. It's just this psychologically is going to wear on people. We have to have a defense against that, an oppositional offense. We have to be strong to counter that kind of situation when it comes, because you know that's what he's trying. It's better to neutralize it now than to worry about it later, or try and neutralize a bit of it and be ready, because this is what it is. It's going to be the freedom to walk into the polling station and vote without being intimidated. It's all about intimidation.
Are you certain, though, that people are going to be able to do that? I mean,
we want to make sure that they will go, that they feel comfortable enough to go. They realize that they're going to lose everything if they don't go.
One of the complaints we hear from a lot of people, especially voters, is that there's been sort of a failure of imagination from Democrats to take Trump seriously. And what
Well,
he
they
said.
better
He
take him
said,
seriously now. They better take him seriously
Have
now.
you communicated your displeasure with anyone in the Democratic Party about the way they've handled Trump?
No, I like what Newsom has done because he's trolled him and he's fought fire with fire, and that's what you have to do. And he called him an invasive species, which is what he is. So he's not. He's a thing that doesn't understand. Trump does not understand anything about humanity, people. He has no empathy. I don't know what he is, but he's an alien, and he wants to hurt this country. It's something deeply psychological in him. He wants to hurt people. He wants to hurt this country. He doesn't care. And what saddens me the most, upsets me the most, is that people follow him and they think and they kiss his ass and they look up to him. And I don't understand it. I don't understand the people in his cabinet, some of them, Rubio, other one, how they can live with themselves after what they've allowed him to do and not stood up. Even walk out of the room when what they did with Zelensky the first time. Rubio, looking at his face, they got the camera on him. If he had balls, he would have walked out.
Mr. Denner, you're talking about...
And he could say, my conscience, I'll lose my job, I'll do things, I can always go on the air, I can always talk later, they'll always listen to me. But look what he stayed. I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Denner, you talked about the people around President Trump. I want to play something that the White House press secretary said earlier this week about the Democratic Party and get your reaction on the other side.
The Democrat Party's main constituency are made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals. That is who the Democrat Party is catering to, not the Trump administration and not the White House and not the Republican Party, who is standing up for law-abiding Americans, not just across the country, but around the world.
Language matters, and the way that you
look what
talk
she's
about
saying.
Yeah,
look what she's saying. There's no respect for any kind of truth or anything. It's just it's another world. We have to combat it. There's no way around it. What this kid, I'm just so, I don't even know what.
What do you think what do you think they are trying to signal?
They're trying to signal to the people they reach, and I'm certainly not reaching those people on this program, but maybe through little sound bites and this and that, and the internet and so on. They're trying to. They're used to seeing Trump do his stuff, and they talk and they listen, and that's the truth to them because they don't listen to anything else. It's somewhere way out in the Midwest, somewhere out in the out west, in certain places, the rural places. That's the truth because he gets the airtime, and I think that we need more airtime, just more push against and not. I wish that you can't do this in some ways, but that the news media could find ways to kind of ignore or tamp down nonsense.
Joining me now is Eddie Glaude, Distinguished Professor of African American Studies at Princeton University. He's the author of several books, including Begin Again, James Baldwin's America and its urgent lessons for our own, and We Are the Leaders we have been looking for. Professor Glaude, good to see you. I thought of you when I wanted to discuss this because it so deeply troubled me that we were talking about protest and dissent, which is so core to this country, as hate.
Ali, it's great to see you this morning. I think your monologue there was so perfect, so spot on. And in so many ways, what you described was the divided soul of America. W.E.B. Du Bois attributed double consciousness to Black Americans, that we see ourselves through the eyes of those who despise us. But in so many ways, that double consciousness is a consequence, a reflection, an impact, an effect of the double consciousness of the nation. America imagines itself at once as a beacon of freedom and as a white republic. And that divided soul has produced a kind of madness at the heart of the country. So when I hear Mike Johnson say or describe the No Kings March as they hate America rally, I hear him saying they hate us. I hear him invoking a notion of America that doesn't really include me, that views the white people who participated in those marches, the 7 million plus people, as somehow traitors in some ways, because they hold a vision of the country that actually runs counter to right? The way in which Douglas read the Declaration into the Constitution. And so part of what we have to do is to understand as clearly as we can this divided soul. You articulated a vision of the country, Allie, that was rooted in these ideals, these principles. Mike Johnson has a view of the country that's rooted in blood and soil, that can be traced to the calamitous decision to reconcile the principles of liberty with the institution of slavery. And we have to begin to untangle this, because the country that Mike Johnson loves, I do not love. The country we aspire to be is the country I'm willing to bank my all on. And I think we have to begin to unpack that as best we can, my friend.
This is very reminiscent, though, of the civil rights movement, in which people were both accused of being terrorists and communists and people who were hateful. And that's why I brought up the James Baldwin conversation. James Baldwin was deeply critical of America's flaws, and America is better for it.